Hey, hi, it's me, CT. I want to talk to you a little bit about closings and contracts today in the time of coronavirus. So, we have been having a hard time doing closings because you can't get everybody into the same room and sign contracts. I've talked about this recently. We just had a sales meeting in the Union Square office at Corcoran, and we had speakers who were Alan Perlitz and Andrew Luftig, both lawyers who do a lot of residential closings here in New York City. And so they discussed some of these difficulties, and I want to communicate some of those to you and then offer some points and advice that they had and some of my own. So one of the problems with virtual closings, right, is that banks typically won't let you sign an e-document for a mortgage. That is changing for some banks. You have to check with your bank in case you are in contract and looking to close, or you're thinking about trying to get into contract to close over the next couple of months while we still have quarantine issues. So that is starting to change. Some banks are allowing virtual signatures, digital signatures. They're allowing virtual notaries. So notaries typically have to be in person in order to notarize a document. Those regulations are being waived in some cases by banks. So you can find out from your lender whether or not they will allow that kind of thing. This is mostly for condos, I want to point out. Co-ops can have problems with this kind of thing. Getting the stock and lease can be an issue. So co-ops are a little more difficult to close at this time than condos are. Also, reading board minutes. This has been a big thing in the diligence period, right? So let's say you've got an accepted offer and you don't have an accepted contract. So you're in the diligence period between offer and contract. So your lawyer needs to go in and read the minutes, physically read the minutes typically it's in the management company's office that the lawyer goes to physically, reads pieces of paper, and then leaves. And what now you can do, and what some management companies and buildings are allowing, is that your lawyer can get a digital copy of the minutes, the board minutes, to do the diligence, and then have them ask if the management company is reluctant or the building is reluctant, have them send a confidentiality agreement to the lawyer as well. So along with the digital, or before they even get the minutes, they can sign a confidentiality agreement that says that they won't share this info with anything other than the way they would do normally with their client, and then problem kind of solved. So you can, if you're on the buy side, you can certainly ask the sell side to push for that through the building or through the management company. And if you're on the sell side, you can reach out and suggest that in case your building is not already doing that. Another thing is walkthroughs. Walkthroughs are very hard to do if you can't go to the place. And if you can't go to the place, maybe you can do a virtual walkthrough. So technically right now in New York State, for example, we are not allowed as real estate agents to actually go and conduct business to help with the walkthrough. We have been mandated by the state not to do these things. Some people have suggested digital walkthroughs or virtual walkthroughs with the super, for example, or putting more money in escrow for the closing than normally you would do. I just want to say you should be very careful about this kind of thing because it's very hard to see a lot of details in a virtual walkthrough through an iPhone or some kind of video of a space. I know because I do them all the time, and I can tell you that a lot of details, like the way the walls are, like how dirty things are, it's hard to pick up some of that detail. So you have to be very thorough if you're going to try and do something like that. And probably you want to try and put some extra money into escrow anyway. Okay. Also, one of the issues with closings you may find is that the building, say if you're a buyer and the building that you're moving into may allow you to move in, moving companies are considered an essential service right now. But sometimes your building won't let you do the move out. So you have to coordinate to make sure that both the move in building and the move out building are available for the moves and allow that at this time as well. The last thing I want to mention is drop dead dates. So if you're getting into contract right now, or maybe even if you are in contract but your closing is on hold, maybe you want to, whether you're the buyer or the seller, and I'd say most times probably this is for the buyer in this case, is that you want to consider trying to get a drop dead date in your contract of sale. What a drop dead date is that it means that after a certain period of time, let's say a regular closing takes about 3 months or 90 days in New York, sometimes shorter if it's a condo, and can go longer. Then maybe you have a drop dead date of 6 months, which means that 6 months down the line after you've signed the contract, if for some reason they still are not able to close, you shouldn't have to be locked in to this contract till the end of time. You should be able to get out using a drop dead date. Is that drop dead date 6 months? Is it 7 months? Is it 8 months? Whatever it is, it's a point of negotiation and something that you should be thinking about these days. All right. Those are my tips and concerns for people who are either in contract or thinking about getting into contract. And there's not a ton of those people right now, but there are definitely a lot of people in contract, and I hope this is helpful to some degree. All right. Actually, I have one last thing too, and this is important. If you are under contract and you have passed your mortgage contingency, which is 45 days, usually about 40 or 45 days into the contract, and you are thinking about trying to, if you have any concerns about your job in the future, you may want to consider trying to close virtually or otherwise as soon as possible, because the thing is that you might not, if you lose your job and you are past your mortgage contingency, but you are still obligated to close, and there's a very good chance that New York State will continue to enforce contracts of sale, then, at least according to the lawyers that we heard from, and I am not a lawyer, so take this advice and ask your lawyers about it, but you may want to try and close because you could get into a situation where the mortgage company does not allow you to close because you've lost your job in between the mortgage contingency and whenever the closing date is. This is a very critical thing because it could put at risk your deposit, which is typically 10% of the purchase price. So if you are in that situation, go talk to your lawyers about what happens if something changes to your job or your status, or something that could happen to your mortgage qualification that would allow you the bank would not allow you to close, because we don't want to see you getting in danger of losing your deposit. Just a little bit of advice. Go talk to your lawyers, talk to your mortgage agent about that stuff. Okay? I hope this is helpful. Stay safe, stay inside and far away from other people whenever possible. Okay, bye.